Welcome to Brainstorm9000.
You got a brain? Your brain wants to listen to this podcast.
So open your brain.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Schultz, and here at our studio, we are recording yet another podcast. That actually happens to be podcast number 64. Together with me, I have two very important people. One of them is Ashley. Hi, Ashley.
Hi.
Ashley has been on this podcast a couple of times before. And then I have a god, Hermes. Hi, Hermes.
Save the most important for last. Got you.
Of course. So, believe it or not, I'm kidding you not. This is a total surprise for these two people. So I'm going to ask Whitnell to surprise them.
Very nervous about what's about to happen.
Indeed.
Yeah, so does anyone of you know what this music is about?
No.
No.
When I get older, losing my hair, many years from now, will you still be sending me a Valentine, birthday greetings, bottle of wine? If I'd been out till 2:45, would you like the door? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64? Say Beatles with the voice of Paul McCartney.
Nice.
I'm 64 as of a couple of weeks ago, and I decided
Happy belated birthday.
that maybe we should talk about it, and I decided to put it in a certain perspective.
When I get older, losing my head.
That's young Paul McCartney.
Years from now,
Huh?
will you still be sending me?
I'm fading it away. Right? So
Master engineer.
let's talk about it. What I would like to do is this. We all know, right, that I keep saying that I'm a time machine.
When I'm 64.
And I'm 64 now. So I was born in October of 1955 in Moscow. Can you imagine how long ago it was? They say that Russia is behind the United States technologically by at least 50 years. At least it used to be like that. So I witnessed a situation when we had no jets and then they appeared, right? I remember how it happened. I already said at least once on one of the podcasts that my grandmother, when they first flew over Moscow, told us to drop on the ground because she lived through World War II and she thought that we were attacked at the time. So there was a very simple radio with tubes, right? And I listened to it, and it was the only type of the entertainment that I got at home. And then TV appeared. I remember we had an old TV. You guys probably never saw them and probably never had them in the United States. When, in order to start it, you had to bring up the cover, and then it kind of like clicked, and black and white picture went on with only one channel. Then there were two channels. Then there were three channels. I think at the time in the United States, TV was going on already for many years. And then we lived a life when we read books. You came home from school, ate something real quick, did your homework if you were a good student. I was. And then you went out and played all day outside, right? And your summer camp, we had summer camp, was basically something like in your case would be a camp for very little children. Sports, games to play, collecting mushrooms, and learning how to swim. In Russia, they teach you how to swim in a very simple way. They throw you in water and you swim. I'm just kidding, but you know.
You know, our American minds would just believe.
Yeah, we literally, yeah, it makes
Oh yeah,
sense.
wow.
Right. And then you know, so like airplanes became a reality of our life more and more. Musk has an amazing subway system. TV became color TV. When I left the Soviet Union in 1988, I did see computers, but only mainframe. Do you know what mainframe means? It's like the old type of computer where you have rows and rows of machines, like in the movie, which have huge disks that record for the memory. And then there is a keyboard, which is the size and the shape of probably a piano, right? On which you have to dial numbers 0 and 1s and code it. And then there were cards made out of paper that you had to put in. When I came to the United States and got my first job in 1989 at Columbia University, my boss had a DOS computer. So the screen was gray and green. And his secretary refuses to use a computer to type. She still typed all the papers that we wrote on a typewriter.
Was there no
with-
backspace on a typewriter, or was there a way to correct anything that happened?
True.
No. So you type on a typewriter, and let's say you made a mistake. Sucks for you. So what you can do, if you don't have to submit it to some kind of an official place, then there was a whiteout that you could use and type over it again, but you had to be very precise. So the initial typewriter type, right, was mechanical. My boss at Columbia had an electric typewriter, right? And blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, cell phones came along, right? I remember the day when Gagarin went to space in Russia, the first man to go to space. I was 5 or 6 years old at the time. I don't remember the exact date when it happened. I remember when Americans landed on the moon. I mean, it's amazing. And right now we are sitting in the studio in 2019. Whitnell has his cell phone, right? He's our recording genius. We have a couple of cell phones laying around. We have sophisticated equipment. And it's not a secret for anybody. We record in the studio more than one episode at the time. So today we also recorded an episode with Nicholas, the Google guy, basically talking about artificial intelligence again, right? So we went a very long way. How does it make you feel?
Honestly, a little bit indifferent just because I guess I'm used to it. But I have questions for you.
Okay.
So you talk about artificial intelligence a lot. Do you feel like there's more fear instilled in people from your generation versus our generation? Because our generation doesn't really care that technology is advancing, but there seems to be some sort of apprehension with those of the older generation.
Well, if you talk about the older generation, you are talking about somebody like Elon Musk,
Yeah.
who is significantly younger than I am. He's probably in his 40s. I don't remember. If you want to look it up, be my guess, but I don't know how old he is. I don't know every single person from my generation. I would say that probably Ray Kurzweil, the guy who has written extensively on this thing, right? And reintroduced many things into the minds of the general public. Is almost as old as I am. Actually,
That's the author we talked about before, the author of the Small Yellow Book.
Smart Yellow Book,
The Small Yellow Book.
which is
It's on artificial intelligence. We were talking about it on one episode once, and I remember you
Right.
actually had it physically. But I'm trying to say, like, is that by Ray Kurzweil? Like, he's the
yes,
the writer? Yeah.
and it's not that small. So singularity is here.
Mhm.
Is a very famous book.
Mm,
Singularity is not the term that he came up with, but he reintroduces. This is just to remind our listeners and to you guys, is the time when the moment will come when computers will outdo us. And after that, either we are extinct, like we don't exist anymore, they'll get rid of us, or maybe they won't, and we become like the Labradors for them. Nobody actually knows. Do I believe that something like that is going to happen? Not really. And we can talk about it anytime you want. But I can tell you, so again, so I don't know my generation, but people who I meet, doctors my age, are not as comfortable with computers and technology as I am. But that's just because of the way I am, since I'm young, right? Do I know people my age who are significantly more proficient with computer technology? Of course. Of course. But the majority of people are just not there. It's not something that they think about all the time. Okay. So Ray Kurzweil is how old? Let's see. He is older than me. He's 71. He was born on February 12th, 1948. And he is one of the people who is a super genius in the area of
Mhm.
artificial intelligence, right? So here you go. That answers your question. He's all for it. He feels very
Yeah.
positive about it.
Mhm.
Did
Okay.
I answer your question?
Yeah.
Right.
Why are we talking about your 64th birthday?
Because there is an enormous gap between your generation and mine. And I would like to hear your opinion about it. I'm curious.
Our opinion on the gap itself,
Yeah.
just like how large it is, or
No,
just
like
like
I
talking
would
about in
like to hear from you
technology?
how your life is. Because, for example, today I spoke to
Oh.
somebody who has a 25 years old daughter. And he showed me her picture. We both agreed that she is very good looking. She's apparently super smart, has a very good job, is not dating anyone. And I mean, had a couple of boyfriends before, but they don't exist. So he tells her, "Look, you are good looking. Why aren't you seeing anyone?" Her answer to him is because they're all sitting home on their devices. They don't come out.
I suppose it's a little bit true.
Where is she living though?
In New York.
In New York, like the city?
Yeah.
I feel
No.
like to an extent that works, but like when you live in like one of the biggest cities in the world, it's like you can't
Right.
get away from people.
Mhm, true.
Like no one ever, like anywhere, is like not on their phone around it, is what she's trying to say. Like virtually all 20 somethings in all of New York are
Well,
just
I don't know
super on
what. So, how do you live your life? Like, can we talk about it? It's very interesting.
I don't know what you mean by live our
Like
lives. We live our
how-
lives the same way everybody else lives their lives.
No. But like, how is the typical day of somebody who is 25? I don't know. I mean, Hermes is probably thousands and thousands of years old.
I am.
Yeah, I mean, you wake up, you go to work.
Right.
When you leave work, you go
Right.
home, probably. Sometimes you go out.
Right.
Usually not.
Not every day.
Not every day. On the weekends, yeah, you go out, you have
Right.
fun. But generally, it's kind of boring. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Hermes.
feel like when you're young, it's cool to say everything's boring. all the time. So I'm gonna second that. Yeah,
Right.
life is boring.
But is it boring?
I feel like it's the one channel problem you're talking about. Like when you had your first TV and it just had the one channel, and then you have 3 channels, and then you come
Right.
here and there's just like infinite channels or whatever, or more channels. I don't know. I have no sense
Right.
of time. I'm young, but it's like when you have the one channel, you just deal with what's on the one channel. You get like the standard broadcasting. Everybody's watching the same sitcom. Everything is like kind of in a more communal sense. But once you have like the 3 channels, it's like, okay, I'm switching back and forth. There's nothing on TV. Then when
Right.
your parents get a satellite
True.
package, you have 200 channels.
Right.
Nothing's on TV. Nowadays, it's like, oh, nothing's on Netflix. Instagram is
Yeah.
boring. Snapchat is boring. You know what I mean? It's just fun to say shit is boring almost. You know what I mean?
Really?
But
But
I
it's
feel like,
kind of true.
but it's kind of true. It's like you become, I guess what I'm trying to say is you become more like dull to things being exciting because like I can look at
Mhm.
my phone and pretty much see anything in my imagination. Like no matter how crazy or like not real or real, I can see a unicorn. I can see Harry Potter. I can go on like ex hamster for a while and lose my brain and see disgusting porn videos. I could see,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
it's
Like
nothing
anything,
shocking.
anywhere my brain could go, I could see actually happen in front of me. So I feel like that's the thing that makes us most different, I think, than older people. Is like they have the same access to the
Mm.
same stuff, but their brain just doesn't work that way. Whereas I feel like my brain is hardwired. Like if I have the impulse to see it in my head, I'll just pick up my phone and find a way to go see it. You know what I mean?
Really?
So
Ashley, do you agree?
I agree. I think that there's really no shock value anymore. I think we're very desensitized to most things.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, nothing shocks me, really.
Really?
Yeah. I see something that probably should be shocking, but it's kind of like, it's normal. It's normal now.
Like what?
Mm, I don't know.
her mind just self-censored.
Like a, yeah.
She was like, I should say that, but they'll all judge me.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean,
Which is what?
that?
Okay, so audience at home, I'm watching what looks like a 4-year-old boy with his face planted inside of the cheeks of a mannequin, like at a Macy's store or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
Let me see the poetic poetry that they put at the bottom there. Would you like to read the caption? Is there a
Oh,
fire
no.
caption there at least, Ashley?
It says, like father, like son is what they say. That is inappropriate.
Beautiful. It's about, fatherhood.
Oh, yeah, I understand. Yeah. So, but what is valued by your generation?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know, I feel like clout and pretty much
yeah,
nothing.
that's true.
Cloud.
Like, yeah,
What do
like
you mean?
being known for something, like being, legendary.
Really?
Yeah, like making a name for yourself.
Seriously?
Yeah,
Because
I mean,
everybody can do it. Like anybody could be famous from their phone. Like you don't have to
Mhm.
actually do
it's true.
anything. So that's just what people focus on now. Is like how poppin' are you rather than like what are you doing in any kind of way.
Really?
There are jobs being made just like based off of social media itself.
The look
Instagram
on
models.
Apparently, I look very surprised.
Yes, yes.
Influencers.
the look of shock on
It's
Dr. Schultz's
like-
face.
I'm actually
Yeah.
totally shocked. I didn't expect this answer at all.
You
Yeah.
can make like a career out of just being yourself.
Yeah, just
Or not even being yourself.
but whatever.
A more enhanced version or
Mhm.
the version of you that you think other people
But
want
listen,
to see.
there is, for example, I know of Casey Neistat. Right?
Mhm.
I happened to see him a couple of times running on the west side in the morning when I walked to my office in Tribeca.
Who are we talking about? Case who?
Casey
Stan?
Neistat.
Who that?
YouTuber.
It's one of the very important people in the field of YouTubing. He had a YouTube channel where he recorded every single day for many, many years. He finally got quite a few million of followers, over 1 billion hits, made a lot of money from commercials.
Mhm.
So, but how many Casey Neistats are there? Or let's forget about Casey Neistat. Is there like who is famous on YouTube or who is famous on Twitter? Whoever.
Actually
A-
don't know.
A lot of people, like
A lot of
infinite
people.
amount of people.
Yeah.
Because like I feel like with your phone and with this like new phone social media cultures, like there's somebody famous in every field. Like there's somebody famous in the field of like people who feel like they're rejects and like anime and watch anime 10 times a day. Like
Right.
there's somebody in that specific field that like brands want to get to, and like companies who are actually selling products related to anime
Right.
would want to get to this person because they literally have followings of like hundreds of thousands of people. But their
Right.
brand is like about not being famous. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not gonna know who that is.
Right.
But like they still have access to the hundreds of thousand people they need to access. You know what I
Right.
mean, there's just so many access points. That's like hard to be like, oh, these people. I mean, you could of course think of like who's the terrible guy with the suicide forest or whatever his name, like Jake Paul,
Oh,
Logan Paul, that everybody got mad
yeah.
at.
Right.
Like there are people like that, of course. So this person you're talking about, they seem like the really top echelon,
Right.
but there's just like an infinite, like there's just too many people.
There's
Who are,
so
like,
many people.
even, like, Small.
It could be you, Dr. Schultz.
Yeah.
Could be
Mhm.
you.
I mean, isn't that what we're doing right now? There's not
Yeah, pretty much.
Making me
Our
think.
Yeah.
Well, we are recording a podcast. I mean, who listens to podcasts?
Everybody, apparently. I think everybody has a podcast.
Ah,
Yes.
everybody has a podcast. Right? Right. That's a totally different story. Yeah, but I know why I have a podcast, and it's actually for a totally different reason.
Mhm.
I have a podcast because somebody has to start talking to people about their brains because they are, on one hand, overused by using the devices, but on
Mhm.
the other hand, from what you just even told me, they are underutilized because is it an ultimate goal to just become well known, or is it to become known so you can make money and then go travel the world, experience different things, or
Both.
people don't need to experience anything anymore?
Both. I think
Meaning,
people get the gratification from having hundreds, thousands, millions of people like following them and liking their things, but
right?
also, yes, they make a career out of it. It is to make money sometimes. I don't think most people go into it to make money, really, though.
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
think
initially it's like,
yeah, I think most of them aren't making money, even if
yeah.
they are really popping. They're generally just
On YouTube?
yeah, because
Okay,
I think YouTube
not
changed
anymore.
their
Yeah, not
advertising
anymore.
rules on how they pay out.
That's so not true.
It's
Really?
not what it used to be though.
Yeah, they've like implemented a
Like, I
lot
mean,
of
if you have a
rules.
huge following, but you know what I mean? Like the
Well-
average person, even if they have like 100,000, 200,000 plays on videos, like I don't think they're making like much more
Yeah.
money than like somebody who's just established and has a career and is getting
Mhm.
paid like 80K a year.
Like trying to start a YouTube channel now versus like back then, you're not really gonna make the same amount of money now versus back
Yes,
then.
they demonetized,
Yeah.
like almost
Yeah, they, like
demonized,
took
right?
away things they paid for.
So I know for specifically for like video games,
Right.
Mhm.
like people make like
Oh, well, yeah.
$100,000 a year off YouTube and playing video games. And it's not that the video game plays them, but they make their money off their YouTube channel.
Yeah,
But
I
there's certain lucky people.
I think
A lot of people, I think, in specific, there's a big community. There's this one particular video game
Mhm.
that has a very large community, like over like 1,000 YouTubers.
Right.
They all get like from at least 50,000 to like $200,000 a year.
I believe it.
I
That's
think
nuts.
because I think you're talking about Fortnite.
No, I wasn't, but that's
Yeah,
probably, that's
really
another
big.
game.
I know Fortnite's a big one with like YouTubers and stuff, just because like it's the watch duration where like they'll
Mhm.
make 2-hour
Oh,
videos.
yeah.
If you can get an audience to watch 2 hours of YouTube, you're gonna make money.
Yeah.
But like most content creators are like making like 5-minute videos. You run one ad on it, whereas like those ads will have like 6 ads in the middle of the video. You know what I mean? Like it'll stop the video, show you an ad. So it's like they clock
True.
in every single time, and
Yes.
then they'll pay you if the people watch more.
That's actually.
So I think video games might
good
be a
point.
special.
Yeah,
One
so
day.
I guess it's
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Depends.
I know 2K, like the game, like all the YouTubers literally make 10-minute to 15-minute clips, but I know they have to hit a certain mark
Yeah.
to get money. But yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And they get money from that. Like,
So, Ashley, so for you, it's
Mhm.
important to be recognized on the internet?
Not at all.
What's
I
im-
really am not plugged in much.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
what is important for you?
Ooh, what's important for me? I don't know. Security, safety. I
Okay.
think that's actually something that people in our generation are worried about. Security for the future. But yeah, that's
But
really what
that is
matters
probably
most
true
to me.
for
Yeah, I mean
for any
anybody,
generation,
of course.
right? So, do you feel particularly insecure nowadays?
I do.
Because
Not sure. I just feel I don't know. Everything costs money. I think it's a money thing. Yeah.
Everything does cost money.
Yeah,
It's kind
everything
of
costs
annoying.
money. Obviously, everything always costs money, but the cost of living versus like what we're making, and I'm
right,
speaking for my generation, I think we're struggling quite a bit.
Brandon, you agree?
I spent like $15 on breakfast this morning. So I got a bacon, egg, and cheese, and a small iced coffee.
Right.
They managed to like make the iced coffee like smaller than a normal iced coffee, and
Right.
like compressed it more somehow to just steal more from me.
Well, you
It's
know
like
what I
3
have to tell
ounces.
you. One of the so of course I came to the United States in 1988 when I was 33 years old, like Jesus, and from the Soviet Union, and things were actually a billion things were totally amazing to me. Starting from people who were walking with huge clocks on their necks, because apparently in 1988 there was this rapper. What was his name?
Flav.
Who wore a clock?
I mean, it's just the culture. Yeah.
No. He was very famous.
Yeah, his name's Flavor Flav.
Yeah, Flavor Flav.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
think? Yeah, Flavor.
That's the 90s.
Yeah. So, but for example, people bought for $1 tea or coffee from a small thing on wheels, and also ate bagels. I've never seen bagels in my life before that, because in Russia we don't have them. But also, to me, concept of not being able to wait until you walk into your workplace and pour hot water into your cup and make tea yourself and paying $1 was a very big surprise to me. Or, for example, coffee to go, right? We didn't have that. Actually, in Europe, they started having it probably later than in the United States, but the Soviet Union at the time wasn't Europe. It was like the Soviet Union, period. Right? It totally fenced-off country. So when I started working at Columbia University in research, technicians who were much younger than me, would come every single day with a cup of coffee and a bagel. And I was married with 2 children living in Brooklyn, right? Making very little money. I just couldn't afford it, not only even monetarily, because it would be like, for me, like stealing chicken from my children, right? But also, I couldn't even understand, how do you do it? Guess what I do right now? Every time on my way to work, I have a particular place where I buy a cup of coffee because it tastes good. By the way, it still doesn't taste like anything in Europe, but probably water.
They're trying.
Yeah, nobody in this country, nobody's even trying. Like coffee sucks. Big
Shots
time.
fired at
Yeah. No, coffee sucks. But so this concept is, familiar now. But what is surprising to me, that people who make very little money, and I don't want to generalize and say that it's only in your generation, just refuse to cook.
No,
All
you're
3
right.
meals a day,
It kills me that you're right.
right? You buy, and with Nellis, right? You agree?
Okay, but can I make an argument? Can I make an argument though?
Right.
So right.
Facts.
Yeah, like today I traveled a lot. I use subway mostly. So I didn't bring with me what I usually do. But when I leave my house, plus I'm 64, I have to watch what I eat. I'm trying to lose weight, or actually nowadays I'm trying not to gain weight mostly. So I bring with me every day a container, like a bunch of containers, little containers with food for the day. Not because I'm stingy, but because whatever I buy, whatever I can buy, is going to be horrible. Like, what do you normally have for breakfast, Ashley?
I don't usually eat breakfast. Yeah.
Brandon also.
No,
you
they-
must be eating something in the morning.
I mean, I wake up really late, so I guess I don't have breakfast either.
Okay, what do you normally have for your first meal like during the day? Anyone?
I do eat breakfast every day.
So what do you eat?
Bacon, egg, and cheese, in most scenarios. Yeah.
Skinny people, I hate them. You should see how skinny he is. Yeah. So okay. And you, Ashley, what do you have for breakfast?
I don't eat breakfast normally.
What do you have for lunch?
Salad. Very expensive salad.
Really?
Yeah.
Which contains some protein or no?
Protein. Yeah.
Sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you have for dinner?
What? Yeah, that's a crazy question. I guess.
No, but do you buy it?
No, yeah, buy it most of the time. Sometimes I cook, like
Same.
very rarely.
Okay. Ashley?
Yeah, I'll usually buy something.
You buy?
Me too.
Yeah.
See? So that to me is very, very different. I cannot talk. I mean, I have 2 daughters, but I know they cook at least once a day. Well, my other daughter has a 2-year-old son, right? So she has to.
At least once a day?
At least once a day.
At least.
She said at least.
At both, so they cook like more times a day. They cook more than once a day.
Okay, so let me talk about myself, because it's 64, my 64. So I practiced yoga most of my life. So right now I don't do actively hatha yoga, as you can see, but I'm used to making food in the morning for myself because I wake up extremely early. So my diet, I'm on a slow carb diet, which people can read books about it. It doesn't matter. It presumes that I start my day in the first 30 minutes to an hour. I have to have a meal which is rich with protein. So I actually use sophisticated, kind of on an expensive side shakes because I cannot make food half an hour after I wake up. It's crazy. No.
That's how I feel.
No. But only because I have to go to work, or on a Saturday or a Sunday, if I'm home and not going anywhere early, I can easily make eggs, scrambled eggs, let's say, or sunny side up, and spinach. And I can teach you how to do spinach if you want to, but it has to be. Maybe we should do a program when I teach people how to cook, right? Okay, so but I have to make lunch for myself, or for the day like today, also dinner. So I boil the eggs, I prepare vegetables, right? I mix certain things up. I spend about half an hour preparing for my day, and then I eat that food. But I know that it's high quality. I mean, as high as I want to, and nobody put any garbage in it. Like, where do you buy your food? No, seriously, like where do you buy your food?
Just salad.
No, but where do you buy it? Where?
What do you mean? The store. It's called Just Salad.
It's okay. Is clothing important for you? Do you like to do shopping?
Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I like clothes, but I'm broke most of the time, so
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not like I'm constantly shopping.
Yeah.
But when I shop, I like to shop.
I hate
Same.
shopping.
You hate shopping?
Hate.
Why?
Waste of time.
You can
Kinda
do
how I
it
feel about
online.
cooking.
You can do it online.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
You can do it online.
Yeah, but my weight constantly fluctuates. I don't know what's happening. Okay.
Fair.
So, but my understanding is, see, so I'm asking you questions because, listen, I'm 64, right? So I get to ask questions. It's my gift from you to me, right? So my understanding is that family values right now have changed. I mean, there is no need to have children. Very soon you'll be able to buy robotic children anyway, right? They're going to have artificial intelligence. So having children is not an objective, is it, Ashley?
No, I think millennials just get like a pet. Yeah, instead, right?
Right?
She said, "Get on that."
Yeah.
It's
Seriously?
kind of the
Yeah,
same.
they just get pets instead of having kids. Yes, they do. They totally do. I'm 24.
I'm 24.
You guys millennials?
We're at the end. We're like
Yeah.
the borderline.
Borderline millennials. Right.
So we're with the other people too.
The other people. What, like Gen Z?
No, you're the Papa generation right now.
Right.
Oh,
So, I remember we did a program actually, I think with, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we did it with Master
I think
McMaster.
so.
When I introduced this new concept that completely blew me away, ethical non-monogamy. With Nell, do you understand the concept? You want me to explain it to you? So ethical means that you both know, like you tell each other, look, I love you, or at least I like you, and I would like to spend most of the time with you. But I also would like to be able to have relationships, let's not say sex, right? Which is sex, with other people.
Let's
Right?
not say
Right?
not say.
Right. So then we had a discussion.
Mhm.
Hermes wasn't in the studio at that time
I
because
sure
I see
wasn't.
I see a
The
happy
juicy
smile on
talk
his
when I'm
face.
gone, I guess.
Right. But actually, it turned out that if you start looking into it, in most of the cases, while people make an agreement to have ethical non-monogamy, one of the parties eventually doesn't like. Right? Do you agree?
I agree.
Oh yeah, that's facts.
But you like the concept, Brandon.
Oh, it's a beautiful concept if you can handle it.
Right.
If you can't handle it, it's not really that profit.
Right.
But
But most of people, but family, the way I grew up in, essentially is not important anymore, correct?
No.
Just say it's not important. It's important,
Yeah.
of course.
As far as your parents are concerned, right?
I
It's-
mean, it's,
I mean, I
that's
still have
the base
friends
though.
who like want a family and want to have kids and things like that.
Right.
But I think they also came from like really specific kinds of families where those values were important to that family. So it just kind of got passed down.
Well, I'm actually surprised that like my daughters are interested in all this stuff. I mean, my old daughter is married with a child because growing up in a Russian family with a Russian father like me was very difficult. They called it a Stalinist regime because I told them until they were late in their teens that I don't speak English at home. So usually immigrants, when they come from other countries, especially countries like Russia, China, Korea, they force their children to speak English, which is a big mistake because they go to school anyway. So it's never going to be an issue. Your native language becomes an issue. And of course, to most of our listeners, it might be even not interesting what I say because they're not immigrants. But if they think about it, somebody in their family is an immigrant.
Hmm.
Whether a cooperative immigrant or as a lot of like all black people in the United States, uncooperative, unwilling immigrant because they forced them here and enslaved them. But everybody came from somewhere.
Mhm.
I mean, Native Americans are very few and they live in reservations
Mhm.
or amongst us, but we don't know who they are, right? I'm talking about American Indians. Even to say American Indian is stupid
It is.
because people who discovered America thought that they discovered India. That's why they're called Indians. They're not Indians,
Mhm.
right?
Happy late Columbus Day, everybody.
Yeah. By the way, in Russia, we have a celebrity, a journalist, a very cool guy. You would appreciate him, who is half Cherokee.
Mhm.
Because when his mother was visiting the United States, apparently something happened, right?
It
Right?
did, yeah.
Right. So, but anyway, seriously though, so I disciplined them like there's no tomorrow. I mean, there was no, almost no yelling, and because sometimes you have no choice. But no, like nothing physical went on. But I certainly shut off oxygen very, very
Turned off
frequent, like
oxygen.
very
Weird.
frequent. Like
Get
people were
switched.
grounded like there's no tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. Terrible things happened. I'll never forget. We were sitting at the table having dinner in the house, right? The house was in the cul-de-sac. And my younger daughter at the time was going to probably like, high school already. So like the 8th grade, I mean, the 10th grade, whatever. So the doorbell rings. I open the door. 3 boys are standing and say, "Is the name your daughter home?" My answer was, "Excuse me, gentlemen, did you make an appointment with her?" It was
Did your
difficult.
office,
It was
yeah.
difficult, yeah. But somehow it worked out. But Ashley, for you, it is not the main objective.
Like a
You'd rather have
family
a
and
pet,
kids. Would I rather have a pet? No.
right?
But I don't think that a family or kids are like an objective of mine. Like it's not a goal or milestone in life that I'm trying to reach.
What are you trying to reach? Security, safety,
Honestly, yeah, I am. Is
right?
that selfish? Maybe a
What
little bit.
what also?
What else? I'm not sure. Let me think about it. I feel like there was something I was going to say, but I kind of forgot.
Okay,
Yeah, come back. to
Brandon,
me.
what is your objective? You want to become famous?
Maybe not famous. I mean, famous would be like a result of what I want. But just
Right.
like success in my career and then be really rich. Like I really actively just want to be like super dumb rich. Like, I never want to think about a monetary decision besides like how to make more money. Like I want that to stress me out more than like me being broke.
So I've got news for you. And
Mhm.
again, I'm one of the people who is not super rich. I have a few acquaintances. How do you say it?
Acquaintances.
Acquaintances
Mhm.
who are, as you say, super rich. Let me tell you, I mean, universally, their life goes like this. So these are people who are approaching my age or are my age. They've been rich for a good portion of their life because of what they've done, and they don't need money anymore. These few people that I know, they are male, right? Their wives hate them, in quotes, because every time they go on vacation, the guy brings a laptop and a phone, and that's all they need to do business. So they wake up in the morning and they go online and on the phone, and they go to sleep, they go online on the phone. And it's not because they need money, because that's all they want to do. They want to stay active. These people are extremely active, driven people. Look at Elon Musk. He schedules every 15 minutes. Does he need money? Absolutely not. Or what's the name of the guy who... Bezos,
Mm-hmm.
Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
He's a multi-gazillionaire. He's the richest man in the world. At least was until he got divorced. But still probably is, right? No.
Right.
Does he
Yeah,
need
yeah.
money? Does he need money? No. He still works.
It's so true.
Yes.
No. No, but he probably paid off. But he still works, right? So people who are rich either inherit, and like, Paris Hilton, right? But also she works. It turns out
She
that
works
she's
her
also
ass
active.
off, actually.
Huh?
Yeah.
Like, I admire her work ethic a
Mhm.
lot. Paris Hilton. Because it's funny. You'd be like, oh, no, she's just a spoiled rich girl. Which, I mean,
Right.
like, she had her advancements, of course,
Right.
or like her good position in life, but like, she does work her ass
But a
off.
lot of people work.
Yeah.
I cannot pronounce names of people, certain people, because they trigger a lot of anger and uncertainty and unsafety in your generation. So this person will remain unnamed, but we all know one person who is super rich and still wakes up at 5 a.m. in the morning, is constantly in the news, people hate him, right? And he still keeps going. Could have dropped it cold turkey, went to, Mar-a-Lago or whatever the hell, and basically enjoy life. These people are driven by a need to be extremely active, right?
I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of lost by the
I have
puzzle,
an
too.
idea.
Trump.
Yeah.
No, like no. No, or let's talk about something neutral. Bloomberg, okay? Bloomberg is a billionaire. Was it twice, right? For 2 terms. Was the mayor of New York. He didn't need it. It was public service. He paid himself $1. Right?
Workaholic, bro. You need to
Yeah. So if you want to get rich,
Yeah,
time for you
work.
to become a workaholic. No,
Easy.
I know that you go to work, but these people, these super rich people. Okay, so safety for you, being super rich and famous for you.
Oh, I remembered the thing I was
Minus
gonna
the
say.
Yeah.
thing, but yeah.
What were you going to say?
I think happiness is really important to me, and I think everyone obviously would say that, but like my mental health and like health
But
in
let me ask you,
general,
what would make you happy?
I don't know. I'm figuring it out. Not sure yet.
Bren, what would make you happy? So we already established a lot of money, ethical non-monogamy would make you happy. What else?
I mean, I know the money wouldn't make me happy, but I feel like just feeling like achieved and accomplished, like
Right.
Mhm.
like people remember me for the work I've done. Like I could die, and people be like, "Oh, do you remember all this like dope shit?" And they could just like pull up all the different things, like works I've done throughout my life. Then
You can do it now. I got all of it right here.
it's fine. I could die now, guys. Actually,
So-
yeah, I'm upset.
I expect that before we end, you ask me a couple of questions, but you don't have to. But I can tell you that I can totally relate to you, because to me, what's important is to feel that I accomplished what I wanted to accomplish. Not just to be accomplished, period. And it changes every single time. Like when I was younger, I wanted to become a doctor. Then I became a doctor. I wanted to take yet another step. That at some point I wanted to immigrate from the Soviet Union. I did. Right? Then I wanted to get a position at Columbia University in research. I did. Then blah, 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 blah. So right now I'm 64. I have another objective. I want to develop brain technology, because without it, our brains are going to suffer. And I can guarantee you that if and when it happens, something new is going to come up.
Mhm.
Something new is going to come up. So I personally feel that I'll never stop working, and I'll probably die still working on yet another project. So the feeling of total and complete accomplishment, like for example, Steve Jobs, before he died, did he feel accomplished?
I mean, probably not. Probably, I feel like he was trying to make like something better.
Yeah, well, I don't know how he felt. He probably felt like shit, right? Because he was dying from a terrible illness. Right? Yes,
Mhm.
Ashley.
I feel like it's interesting that you say all of that, because in the beginning we were talking about like things not being exciting anymore for like
Right.
our generation and stuff like that. I feel like definitely our generation is a little bit more lazy, and that's why we're like not excited about anything, because we're not creating these little goals for ourselves to like meet. And I
Right.
think when you do that, like you have this like sense of like happiness and like achievement, and it's important. We need it.
So maybe on this positive note, we can end. And I'm going to say it. Listen, people. I am
64. Keep your brains wide open.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Brainstorm 9000. If you like us, love us, or marginally tolerate us,
And definitely, if you hate us,
then go on social media and give us a review on Stitcher, iTunes, or YouTube, or wherever you listen to us.
and remember,
Keep your brains open.